Let's get that on there. So welcome everyone. This is a Whitney Ward's large team call for the night. And I get to host the call tonight a little bit because while we were in Nashville, I won an amazing 30-minute Zoom call with our CEO, Gene Tips. And we're so excited to hear from him tonight. And they said make it super simple and don't embarrass him with the intro. So that's all you get is CEO Gene Tips, and he is going to take it away. We're going to give him as much time so he can give us all the tips.
Well,
tips, no pun intended.
No pun intended.
Well, how are you?
Great. I'm so excited you're here. I was so excited that last Monday, I put it all over social media that you were going to talk to our team, and everyone kept texting me like, I don't think it's today. I don't think it's today. I don't think it's today. So this is how excited I am.
Well, I'm honored and super excited to be on your call tonight. So let me ask you this, Benicia. I get some mixed messages on kind of what you would like me to share with the group. Otherwise, I can just completely go off on a tangent, and that could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing, but I'll leave that up to you.
So I think that we want your best tips on, at this point, a lot of us are trying to earn the trip, right? The leaders retreat. So maybe you could give us some insights on your best takeaways and things so that we can earn it. And any tangents that you have from there would be fantastic.
Sure, definitely can do that. So why don't we do this? Maybe for those of you who don't know me, just a little bit of my background, and then we can kind of talk about maybe kind of some core characteristics of leadership traits and those that I've seen over the last 25 years in this industry. Core leadership traits that I've seen that help them be extremely successful. And that's not just at diamond level, but that's all the way down through, you know, a new brand ambassador that's just gone silver, that's aspiring to go to the next level. And then at the end, maybe we can do a little Q&A. How's that sound? Sound good? Okay, great.
That sounds great.
As you know, with the wonderful introduction, my name is Gene Tips. I am the CEO of Plexus Worldwide. I still kind of pinch myself when I say that. Reason being is I've been in the industry for 25 years and I've seen a lot. And I've seen the good, the bad, the ugly in our business. And I always like to say I found the greatest with Plexus Worldwide. And I mean that wholeheartedly. And I'll come back around to that in a little bit. But been in this industry 25 years. I've been very, very blessed to have a lot of opportunities come my way and a lot of great mentors along the way. And one thing that I would say is that through those opportunities came opportunities for growth. And what I mean by that is they were never easy. The easy path never came for me. And for most of us in leadership roles, you know that leadership and opportunity don't always come hand in hand. They're not always easy. And so, you know, I started my career 25 years ago. I was actually an expat living in Australia. Working for a direct selling company. Long story short, my wife is from Australia. My two oldest are born in Australia. And basically lived there for about 7 years. During that 7-year stint, had the opportunity to have a temporary assignment in the Philippines in Manila. Was actually the general manager for a company in Metro Manila. There was some fraud that was going on. And I was the closest leader that the company trusted to go and kind of babysit the market and make sure that the staff there and everything that was going on, and that we call them distributors, not ambassadors, but the distributors were taken care of. So did that for about 6 months. Came back to Australia after that opportunity and leaning in. I got a phone call and said, hey, how'd you like to move to London? We have a unique opportunity in London to come and help us open up all of our European markets and transition some of them from what we would call not for resale to actually on the ground, full-fledged opening as business. Did that. I remember the first day in the office, I stepped into what they call a Regis office, which is like a temporary type office. And it had one desk and one phone. That was it. And I said, hey, well, where's the office? Where's the rest? And they said, well, that's what you're here for. So leaned into that opportunity and was there for several years operating out of the UK, but traveled all over Europe, doing a lot of business development, setting up shop across many EU and 9 EU countries. And kind of my biggest joke there was I saw more sun on the plane than I did on the ground in London. For those of you who know, you hear kind of all the stories about London and the weather's not so great. It really isn't. So every time I would break through the clouds on the plane, I'd be like, hey, the sun actually exists. And after several years of that, my wife actually got what they call SAD, seasonal affectiveness disorder. So it's basically being depressed from not seeing the sun. And she was born and raised in sunny Queensland, Australia. And so I had the tough phone call calling back to corporate saying, hey, thanks for the opportunity, but my wife's not very happy here. And long story short, they moved us to the US. Another great opportunity there was there in that capacity over international development and over international operations, and eventually being over all of supply chain globally. Anyways, left that company. That time company was probably, it had broached just almost $1 billion, but then had come back down to about 750 million. Got an opportunity to work with a small privately held company. That was a lot of fun. Left there, unfortunately, just because the ethics and morals did not align with the chairman of the board. So I left there, went to another company, which was a publicly traded company. Was in transition from retail into network marketing, and took that company with 5 other executives from doing about 3 million a year to about $250 million in 3 years. That was a lot of fun. Left that well, it's a long day. Sorry. It's like 5:30 here. It's been a long Monday. Left that publicly traded company to go do something else. Got involved with private equity. Employee number 1 startup. Lots of fun, dealing with a lot of fun folks on the private equity side. Grew that company to we were about 25 million in the first year. So kind of some explosive growth as well. But unfortunately, the chairman of the board decided that he didn't like ambassadors, that they were overpaid, that they complained too much. And so he wanted to exercise his right in the ambassador agreements to go direct to consumer. And obviously that didn't align with who I was and what was going on. So I said, hey, thanks, but no thanks. I hope you unwind this thing and we'll part ways. I then took an opportunity to kind of take a break from the industry for about a year and a half, helping a friend of mine fix his contract manufacturing company, which was a lot of fun. But I always knew that I wanted to get back into direct sales and network marketing. For us corporate folks, you love it or you hate it. And obviously I love it and wanted to get back in, and got a phone call one day from a recruiter. And they were like, hey, are you interested in this opportunity with this company called Plexus Worldwide? I didn't know who Plexus was. I had never heard of them. There's a reason for that, and I'll come back to that. But anyways, long story short, went from that phone call to a senior recruiter to a partner to sitting literally in this office that I'm in today talking to Tarl Robinson. Long story short, there was a lot of opportunity for dialogue back and forth with myself and Tarl and the other executives and Alec here. And, kind of towards the end, they asked me, are you interviewing us or are we interviewing you? And I said, it's both. I'm looking for a long-term home. I love this industry and for what it does for people and how it transforms, people. And that's everything from, health to, finances to personal growth and all of the things. And long story short, I got the opportunity to come in 5.5 years ago as chief operating officer for Plexus Worldwide. And anyways, last October, got pulled into Alex's office with Tarl actually, and got handed a note. It was a piece of paper, kind of just like this, and was handed to me by Tarl. And after about 2 minutes of dialogue, and he said, "Well, open it up," and was an offer to be CEO of Plexus Worldwide. And again, I pinch myself every day, because again, I really feel like I found the greatest. Going back to that comment, just in regards to, why I hadn't heard of Plexus Worldwide, it's because of Tarl and Alec. And what I mean by that is, you've heard them say time and time again, network marketing the way it could be done, should be done, but rarely ever is. And so Plexus was one of those companies that was just, they were doing their thing and they were doing it right. They weren't making a bunch of noise in the industry. And what I mean by that is, from a corporate standpoint, usually you hear about other companies because they're kind of doing some weird things out there. And we'll just kind of leave it at that. But that's not who Plexus is, nor will we ever be. And so that was why I had kind of never really heard of Plexus, which was a great thing, so blessed to be here. So dang excited. I like being on these calls. I like being at events because don't tell anybody, but we have a lot more fun doing these than the corporate stuff that we have to do on a day-to-day basis. With that, yeah, share a few things with you as you guys are in your journey. Everybody's a little bit in a different spot with their journey. And there's some key characteristics of leaders, like I said earlier, and those that are aspiring to be leaders. And I'm sure Whitney can attest to this. I'm sure Venetia can attest to this, and some of you others on the call. But one thing that I've always found over the last 25 years, those that have had success in the industry are coachable. That might sound a little strange to you, but for those that are kind of new into the business, it can be something that's very different than what you're used to, either from a corporate life or what your original thoughts of what network marketing could be or is. And one thing that we found is those that are coachable, that are willing to listen to the leaders that came before them, because guess what? All the things that we deal with in this business, rejection, imposter syndrome, and I can just go on and on and on, feeling like you're not winning, feeling like, you're getting more no's than you are yeses. You're not maybe ranking advancing as fast as you want to. A lot of those things kind of play into your mindset and play into the journey. And guess what? Those that came before you, every single one of them have the same thing happen to them. But they were coachable. They were able to lean on their upline. They were able to lean on corporate. They were able to lean on others that were in the business to kind of coach them through those moments, right? Even myself, 25 years ago, if you said I would be at Nashville, Tennessee on stage at Plexus Worldwide in front of 7,000 ambassadors, I would have said, yeah, no way, that's not happening. And here I am talking to you guys, after that convention, and it's been a whirlwind. But anyways, I think the other thing too is you have to have vision of where you're going, right? Do you know where you're going? Do you really know where you're going? Do you really know what you're trying to accomplish? What's the end goal? What's the why? And do you have goals that you have for yourself, your team, your business along the way? Because if you don't have goals to get to your vision and you don't know how to measure against those goals, how do you know if you're winning or not, right? I think the other thing is some other key characteristics are resilience and perseverance. Like I said earlier, a lot of times in this business, things can be difficult, right? They call it network marketing for a reason. You actually have to work at it at all levels and continue to put in the effort, and be disciplined enough to keep your head down and not let the distractions get in your way. I always say, feed your focus and starve your distractions, right? Don't sweat the small stuff along the way. I think the other thing to take note is, continuous learning and adaptability. One thing that we do, and one thing that I've learned from my mom who's since passed, so she would always say, you learn to the day you pass to that next life. And I truly believe that's the case. And it doesn't necessarily need to be something that's massive. It's the little things that you look back on and during that continuous learning period, and you go, that actually ended up being a lifelong lesson. The little things that come along the way. And it can be difficult sometimes, but it's definitely worth it. Use those opportunities along the way that could be construed as distractions or failures, to lean in and use those as learning opportunities, right, along the way. And I think, again, some of the biggest things are really just leaning in. I think all of you being on this call is huge. And I don't think you're here just to listen to me. I think you're here to figure out what are those things that I can incorporate into my business, so that I can win, so that I am progressing, that I am moving forward. And I think the last one, and this may sound a little strange, but I learned from a mentor a really long time ago. He said, activity equals income. I think a lot of times in this business, we're afraid to even open our mouths. We're afraid to ask questions. We're afraid to make a call to, an upline and say, hey, have you ever experienced this no, or these types of issues, right? And just ask for help. I think the one thing about our culture and what sets us apart is we really have an abundance mentality, our culture, right? We don't have a scarcity mentality. It's interesting. This is probably one of the very few times in my career where, if somebody has a question or is facing something that's difficult, they'll post in one of the social channels. It doesn't matter if it's the upline, sideline, downline, it doesn't matter. People jump in and they're like, hey, have you tried this? Or, go look at Whitney's video on this, or go watch this Diamond documentary on this, or watch Jessica Heffley's thing on, rejection, or whatever it is, right? It's just really one of those things where leaning in all those situations really helps you succeed. So now, to be more specific, Venetia, to your question about everybody's trying to earn Leaders Retreat, right? Well, I would say a couple things. One, it's not always about earning the trip. It's the journey along the way, okay? Because even if you don't earn the trip, guess what? There will be another one. Okay. And by the way, there will be another one. No, I know that for a fact. And I will also say, keep your passports up to date for the next one. We'll just kind of leave that one there at that. I think Whitney knows what I'm talking about, but we're not allowed to share. But I think the other thing is, as you're going through the journey, is a couple things. One, it's quality over quantity every time. Okay. You do notice that this contest, there's a retention component. There's a reason for that. Okay. We want you guys to win.
Your wife in there? Oh, is she?
Hey, Carol. Oh, Carol's awesome. And so there's a retention component in there, and there's a reason for that. One, the other thing that you're going to find when you win, not necessarily with these contests, but with growing your business, is you need to love on people. You need to understand and, have a relationship with your customers, with your brand ambassadors, right? And part of that is for that retention component, where you need to keep in contact with your people, right? And not only the people that are on your team now, but maybe even the people that are giving you the no's along the way, right? You have to continue to drip on them and build relationships, which then continues to fill your funnel, continues to build the pipeline. So the retention piece and the relationship piece is a big one along the way, right? People don't want to be just a number in your business. They don't want to be a number along the way, that one order you need in order to qualify, or that next sponsor, a VIP customer to win that thing, right? I think if you have that mindset as you go through the journey with a lot of these things, like with the contest, you'll find that you'll have more success because you'll have better retention. You'll have stronger relationships. You'll have stronger community. I think that's the other thing that's special about our company is just the community aspect. So that, and also never lose sight, don't lose focus, right? Just because you get a no, just because somebody decided not to order this month, don't get discouraged. Don't let that stop you. Don't let that, slow you down. Because here's the other thing I'll say. Even if you do not win the contest, guess what? The work that you're doing today is going to pay off twofold. One, it's going to pay off because obviously it's going to help grow your business, because that's really what it's about. You're growing a legacy business, right? You're definitely going after the contest, but we're going after building a legacy
I don't know.
business.
I just did it because my sister made me get insurance. So
Dental insurance?
I did not.
Hey,
was
Michelle, can
forcing
you
me to
mute
get
real
it. So I
quick?
got
I'm
it.
sorry, Jean. I thought we
I
had
know.
everyone muted. We have new
Yeah,
people.
but
There we go. I'll get him.
All good. So, it's about growing your business. It's about growing a strong business, so don't
Never
let that
sent me
discourage you along the
anything,
way.
and I don't have it, and I can't.
Sorry, I'm gonna mute
I'm
everyone
looking for it
because
when
people
I
keep-
called the other day because I thought it was 2 weeks.
Okay, now I think
I got to
no
mute
one can
myself.
mute.
There we go.
Yes, there we go.
No, we're good. So the other thing it is, I don't know if you realize this, but most of the time, the work that you're doing now usually pays off in the next 60 to 90 days in your business. Okay. Now, I can't tell you all the things because my boss, Genevieve, may get upset if I tell you all the things. But again, when I say it will set you up for success in the next 60 to 90 days, there's something else coming. There are other things that we're doing at corporate to launch to help you guys win that's coming in the next 60, 90, 120 days. That work that you're doing now is going to help you up to success for that. And I'll just leave that there. So with that, I've been going on for 23 minutes. How about some Q&A? Anybody have anything you want to ask? Anything that's on your mind? Anything you want to share? I love doing the open Q&A.
I just want to share a little something quick. Look what I got in the mail.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah, so we got to have lunch with John Maxwell, and he was talking about this book, and many of us didn't have it. So Jean was like, well, guess what? Y'all are getting it one. So it came in the mail the other day, and I've already got it all highlighted, and I'm like falling in love with it. So thank you for that, Jean.
That's also Jen. How are you? I didn't see you.
Good.
Are we working on improving the website?
What's that?
The website?
That's a joke. Sorry, bad joke. Yeah. So why don't we do this really quick for just a short minute or a hot minute here. So, one of the things I get asked on a continual basis is what's the vision for Plexus, right? Where are we going? What's this look like for us in the next 3 to 5 years? And so I will share that, but I also will share with you what our short-term vision is, which will help answer that question. So, you heard me talk earlier on the call, just with a lot of experiences that I've been blessed with from an international standpoint. And one of the things that we aspire to is to continue to grow our community globally, right? We have something that everybody needs. It doesn't matter if you're young, you're old, doesn't matter what demographic, doesn't matter what country you're in. We have something that everybody needs. And that's what we want to do, is to continue to spread that hope, health, and happiness around the globe, to give you guys opportunities and to give our employees opportunities that they had never even dreamed of. I will tell you right now, you thought Nashville was wild? Wait till you see 20,000 people from all over the world at Global Convention and what that brings and the opportunities it brings for us to interact with different cultures, have different opportunities to grow our businesses and expand them beyond the borders of where we're at now. Okay. Now, some of you might be going, well, I don't know anybody in any international markets. Let's be clear and let's not overcomplicate this. We seem in this business to just naturally want to overcomplicate things, or all the things, right? When you go to Starbucks, or you go to the grocery store, or you go to 7-Eleven, or you go to Kohl's, you go to wherever, does anybody ever ask you what you do? Okay. Obviously, you know, a lot of us were trying to work this into the nooks and crannies of our daily lives. We're not all full-time, but you know, I guess we work for a company, or we work with a company that's called Plexus Worldwide, that brings hope, health, and happiness to countries that are all over the world: Canada, the US, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand. You would be surprised by the response that you get sometimes. Sometimes you'll get, oh, that's cool. Sometimes you'll get, oh, my brother-in-law lives in Canada. Guess what? You now know somebody who lives in an international market. Don't overcomplicate it, okay? It only takes one. It only takes a couple. You don't know who you don't know till you ask. So we have a big vision for this company going forward. Now, coming back, Gigi, to your question, we also have a short-term vision, and I call it being brilliant at the basics. And this is where I start getting a little transparent with you guys, okay? Yes, 1,000%, okay? How many of us are shoppers online, right? Everybody raise your hand, right? Probably 99%. You know, if I would to ask you, what does our model look like if we strip away our comp plan and we strip away the way we onboard our current ambassadors and VIP customers? What do you have? You have a high volume, low touch e-commerce model. So if that's the case, then our digital presence, our digital site, our way of doing business has to compete with the Amazons of the world. It has to compete with the other marketplaces. It has to compete, right, with all the things. The days of comparing ourselves to the next, you know, the Herbalifes of the world, or the Avons, or the Isogenics, or whatever the other network marketing company is, that's a different season, and that season's past. We're competing with all the online retailers. We're competing with all the people that make it super easy to do business with, right? I kind of poke fun a little bit. You know, we have such an amazing company, such amazing opportunity, such amazing products. People come to us every day and they're like, here, take my money. I want what you have. And the way we're operating right now, which we're working on, and I'll give you all the things, right? We kind of go, let me think about that for a minute. Maybe, could you write me a check? Could you put that in the mail and send it to us? Maybe we'll get to that in the next week or two. Now, I'm exaggerating, right? But we're pretty passionate about this going forward, where we're in what we call, or I would call, a digital transformation. Okay. And so we're going down a parallel path of what we're doing right now, as opposed to the technologies that are being built, which we're already down the path spending millions of dollars on, to get to that digital transformation. You've seen some of it already. It may not seem like much, it may not feel like a big deal, but it was definitely the first step, huge step in going down this direction. Has anybody been on our homepage lately? Right? Anybody been here for 18 months or longer, where it used to be like 8 to 10 second load speed, double speed, like all the things? Oh, I see lots of yeses and hands. And so what you're seeing is our front site, or that front homepage on the new platform. Okay. Doesn't seem like a big deal, but we got to start somewhere. So that piece of our website is now on the new platform. Right before we went to convention, we launched our new, what we call our product landing page, right? So like when you click shop and then you have all the product categories and you have a search feature, and then you go into the category and you have all the sort boxes and all that fun stuff. And it's lightning fast and all the things. That's also on the new platform, on the new technology. Okay, the next pieces that we're working on is the virtual office and upgrading that piece, along with, we're in the middle of transitioning, and this is the next one that'll be beginning of next year sometime, beginning end of first quarter, second quarter, of moving with what we call Adobe Commerce. So all of our shopping environments, our checkout environment, that will completely change and be on a new platform, so that like when you check out, it's like a one click, or it's like Apple Pay, I double click, face recognition, all that type of stuff. Or can't guarantee some of these later pieces in that same time frame, but all the, hey, you know what, Whitney, we noticed you haven't bought a reset in the last 90 days. Add it to your cart today and we'll give an additional 10% off, right? All the product recommendations, or most people who bought Triplex also bought Active, or all of the product reviews, basically all the what we would call table stakes from an e-commerce experience. Right. So those are all the things that we're focusing on right now, on top of some other innovations with what we'd call our customer and ambassador journey, and reimagining that. That's basically going down the path of, and you've seen the start of this with Plexus Go, where now we're segmenting between our VIP customers, our brand ambassadors, how we talk to VIP customers as opposed to how we talk to our brand ambassadors, all the communication behind that, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to keep the, what I would call the small wins going, right? All the way through the rest of this year into next year, coming into convention. And then we have some huge product innovation stuff on the plate for next convention. And when we marry those two, it's going to be a game changer. So I always tell the team, I know we're always looking for that one huge win to get to the field, like to feel really excited about. I said, right now, what we need is the continual small wins stacked up on top of each other, because what'll end up happening is you'll look back and go, oh, that's a huge win, right? So that's what I mean by that's the short-term vision. And we're not going to get distracted from that. We're not going to go down any other paths. We're not going after what I would call the shiny pennies, or like all the things. And then continually working on raising the bar on the experiential side, either with customer service or with our events. Seems kind of crazy, like how are we going to one-up our events, right? Working on all of those things, working on, taking those things to the next levels. Well, I keep telling the team, the world and where we're at right now, everything has to be experiential, even down to how we deliver product to our brand ambassadors and customers. So we got a lot of work to do, but we're not losing sight of that short-term vision, because we know that's going to pay off for our long-term vision. Hopefully that helps.
It's all exciting stuff. I'm excited. I know Gigi's clapping, so we're all excited. And yes, I've been here 8 years and I've seen lots of little wins add up to huge wins. So that's exciting. Does anyone else have any questions for Jean?
I just wanted to add a thought on to what you just shared, Jean. So we recently did a book study on atomic habits. And what you just shared with us made me think about the example he shares of, I can't remember which country it was. Was it a European biking Olympic team that was the worst? They were so bad that there were certain bikes that wouldn't even allow them to use their materials or whatever. And they brought in this guy that he, to coach, and he introduced this concept of small gains and just a 1% improvement in every individual area, and just focusing on small wins all across the board. They ended up becoming, and I'm going to butcher this part of the story, but they became like the team to beat, and they ended up winning just because of all the small wins across the board, and I feel like that's what you're trying to do with this company that we are so passionate about and that we love so much. And I really believe in your vision, and it lights me up because I know that we have so much more potential to reach so many more people, to change so many more lives. And I think that's really what it takes, is just the little 1% improvements across the board. And that's what I see you working on. And so I'm just so grateful that you're here, you know, at the helm and taking this on. So just wanted to add that.
I love it. Yeah, 1% every day. 1% every day. You look back and 365 days, look at the improvement.
It's huge.
It's huge. It's a big deal, right? It's kind of like what they say, you got to eat the elephant one bite at a time, right? You can't eat it whole. And so that it's proven time and time again. So we're excited. Everybody here is super excited. You know, we got a lot of work to do. But people are excited about the work that they're doing now because they're actually seeing, you know, the fruits of the labors, right? Out in the field. I got a lot of feedback at convention. I get a lot of feedback on these calls. You know, the team's excited because we're seeing it in the numbers, like our retention numbers. That was the one thing when I got asked by Tarl when he was going to pull out of the day-to-day. He says, you know, what's your most important KPI? And a lot of times, you know, we're focused on the top line revenue, we're focused on enrollments, we're focused on, you know, all those things, which we should be 1,000%. But one thing that I noticed over the years as we were, you know, watching some of our subscriptions and the retention, et cetera, I said, well, for me right now, the number one KPI is retention. I said, I want to keep more people in the community from falling out, as opposed to, because you need more people coming in the funnel at the top than you do at the bottom. And I'm like, nobody's really paying attention to why. Like, someone really answer the question for me when I push really hard. Why is the retention falling off, right, year over year? And so we immediately started taking a look at all the things. And Whitney, you know all the things, but you know, working with Chris Pike, working with a bunch of other people, pulling data. That's the other thing I'm really big on, is like making data-driven decisions. Like, this is definitely 1,000% a relationship business. And there's a lot of things you cannot measure in this business with spreadsheets or data. But there's a lot of things that you can. And if you know how to use the data, they're like, you know how to read the tea leaves, you know some of the things that need to get fixed. And so those are the things that we've been focusing on, because we know for a lot, it's been a roller coaster ride over the years, right? You know, lots of good. Like, this company is absolutely amazing. And I wouldn't say I found the greatest if it wasn't the truth. It really, really, really is. We have something that's incredible.
Amen to that. That's a good way to end it right there. I know we've gone over, and we so appreciate your time, Jean. So Venetia, you want to close us out?
Yes, thank you, Jean, so much. I'm very excited that I got to win. I'm so excited I chose your name, and just pouring into us is so good. Like, I just always say that I'm so happy to be here because of the community, and that really does pour from the top down, and you're at the tippy top, and we're just so humbled that you're here, and we can't thank you enough.
Well, we can't thank you guys enough. We don't get to do what we do without you guys, and we don't win unless you guys win. So we really appreciate you guys. So this is an absolute pleasure to get on the call tonight.
Thank you so much,
Jean. Let's go make some more small wins that add up to big wins.
Yes.
All in. Woo! All right. Good night, everyone. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.